So today we are talking about best tradesman websites.
The biggest key metric is return on investment.
You never want to just have all your eggs in one basket. You want to be... So today we are talking about best tradesman websites. I'm joined with James. We've obviously got a lot of experience when it comes to premium websites where you can get leads from, and we're going to list off some that you can obviously get more inquiries, generate more business for your trades.
Yeah, so I want to kick things off with probably one of the biggest that there is out there in the UK, and that's Checkatrade. So I think they're a great outfit. They've got the Checkatrade guarantee. They once you get listed on there, you get verified. So you, generally speaking, have gone through all the checks and quality control. And if you can get listed on there, they do have a website that generates a lot of traffic and gets a lot of leads. My only concern is sometimes in certain industries, you need to be tracking your return on investment. Would I recommend using Checkatrade? Then yes, I would in certain industries. However, every business owner should be tracking the KPIs and checking to see how many leads and how many conversions they get from those leads. Very important, you should be checking that.
Yeah, so the one that I'm going to mention next, I think that this is probably the second biggest, or maybe the biggest for overall, like everything, and that is bark.com. What they basically do is they get you on board as an actual client. You top up like a credit-based system, and for every single lead, like you use maybe 10 credits or 20 credits or 30 credits. Now, again, similar to what James was saying, because it's a credit-based system, they show you parts of the lead, and you basically need to like look at it and be like, oh yeah, okay, I will spend 50 credits for this lead. One thing to bear in mind when it comes to, I think a lot of these websites that we're going to mention, apart from like maybe one or two, you do need to track the KPIs. So let's say, for example, you're spending 1,000 credits every single month on Bark. You want to make certain, okay, if I'm spending £500 or £1,000 with Bark, what is my ROI? Because if you're not getting a positive ROI, you're probably going to need to look elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the third one I'm going to throw in there is Fatrank.com. So we have got a commission-based lead generation system. So in comparison to a lot of the others, like you just mentioned there, with regards to Checkatrade or Bark, for example, there's times where you might be losing a lot of money on investing on those platforms where you would never have that on Fatrank.com because it's a commission-based lead generation service. You do need to qualify to start getting those inquiries. But if you do, it's a no-win, no-fee setup. So for any business owner that's looking to generate more leads, it's an absolute no-brainer to kind of go over to fatrank.com, fill in the form, and see whether you qualify. But I would still recommend also, if you do qualify, trying to check out one or two of the other tradesman websites that Kaz is going to lead on to now in a minute, and still seeing if any others do get you a positive ROI and having that as well.
Yeah, like we've mentioned this before in the past. You never want to just have all your eggs in one basket. You want to be finding out, okay, I'm doing some lead generation with Fatrank. Who else can I also do lead generation with? So another one that we can also mention is mybuilder.com. They also do have an app as well. So they're a pretty well built website. So they've got like loads of like handymen, tilers, kitchen fitters. Literally anything that you are, you'll definitely be able to get your business listed on there as well. But it is like a credit-based system. It's not a no risk for business owners.
Yeah, another one that's quite good is one of the best tradesman websites is Rated People. So these are people that have got to be rated. There's a lot of reviews that go onto the system, and then you can start to see what clients and what customers are saying about those tradespeople. And it's a good way of being able to compare maybe 3 or 4 different local electricians or 3 or 4 different local plumbers. I think it's a great little platform for tradesmen to get on there. But again, for certain industries, you need to be tracking your KPIs. How many leads are you generating and how many orders are you getting from that website? But yeah, Rated People's up there as being one of the best tradesman websites in the UK.
Yeah, so my next one is my job quote. And I believe these guys have got like a subscription based platform. So, again, a little bit of a risk when it comes to that. They also do have a directory as well, which I believe the directory is free. So, if you don't want to pay for the actual monthly subscription, you could at least get listed on the directory there.
Yeah, for sure. Another one that's a great platform to go on to is Trust the Trader. Again, it's a very similar setup to all the rest of them. Certain industries it works great. Certain industries I've seen that it's not worked very well. But in general, is it worth it? Absolutely, it's worth trying. Absolutely, you should be tracking your KPIs and seeing how many leads that you generate, what ROI that you get from Trust the Trader. But yes, it is a reliable source. And yes, it is trusted in the UK by a lot of people looking for tradesmen.
So obviously we've listed like a lot of websites there, and we just keep going back to tracking our ROI and what you're actually getting. What are some key metrics that you're looking at? Is it literally just okay? I've spent £700 this month. I've had 70 leads, £10 a lead, or what is it? What is it that you're looking at?
So, I mean, it can be cost. Some people look at cost per lead and like that. So, if it's £700, 70 leads, that's £10 cost per lead. They know the conversion rate of theirs is 10% of leads to orders. It's costing £100 for a new order. And that's quite easy to track. However, the issue is certain leads from certain places can convert at different levels. So you might not be getting, you might get 70 leads from, let's say, Trust a Trader and 70 leads from Bark, but Bark might convert a lot higher than what Trust a Trader does, or Trust a Trader might be better than my builder. So you've got to be checking to see how many leads that you get, but what the conversion rate is. What is it for a cost per order, and how much have you made on that order? So the biggest key metric is return on investment. If I've spent £700, how much in revenue of orders do I get in, and how much profit do I make off that? Minus the £700, or divide it by the £700 and look at the ROAS, return on ad spend, of what you've done. And then you can work out, is it worth it or is it not worth it? The truth of the matter is, probably 90%, and this is a scary number, of business owners that I speak to, and we deal with thousands of businesses in the UK, don't track these numbers. They don't track what return on investment they get from SEO, from PPC, from paying Checkatrade. And I say, well, why do you do it? And they say, oh, I've had a business mentor, or I've had a coach, a business coach, a good old growth accelerator coach that come in and told me that I need to spend 10% of my revenue on marketing. And do you know what? It's the worst advice I've ever heard. Like, different industries, some might need to spend 25% on marketing. Some might only need to spend 3-4% on marketing. So it completely depends on the industry, what profit margins that you're getting. But you need to be tracking an ROI. And this is where it becomes frustrating, because over at Fatrank.com, we guarantee every single customer that we take on a return on investment. Nobody else does that. Nobody else that I know of in the UK as a lead generator guarantees business owners that they will make a positive ROI. And that's where, for me, every business should be doing fatrank.com for lead generation. But at the start of the message, I said, don't be 100% relying just on Fatrank. Try to generate some of your own leads, or sign up to a few of these tradesmen websites to see which ones work in your industry and in your location.
Yeah, so that has been our video on the best tradesman websites. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. Or if you're struggling with lead generation, head over to fatrank.com, fill in the contact form, and the team will be in touch. Thanks for watching.